Hello everyone, Jacki Weaver here, Derryn's third wife and close friend for almost half a century. We stayed very close. In fact, he texted me the night that he died. Most people do not like making speeches at funerals, and I'm no exception, but Derryn made me promise over and over and over again that I would, and so here I am. I wish I could be there in person, but I'm filming in the red desert wilds of Western Australia in the goldfields. I want to start by acknowledging sincerely and warmly all the women that Derryn loved and who loved him in return. Hello. I won't mention you individually, we don't have the time. And in the immortal words of Steven Spielberg, we're going to need a bigger boat. However, I do want to mention one person who's been a close friend of Derryn's for 45 years, who's been his chief of staff, his personal assistant, his carer, his wonderful, wonderful friend, and that's Annette Philpott. I know that Derryn is eternally grateful to you for looking after him and for arranging today, as am I and as all of us. Thank you, Annette. One of the things about Derryn that many people didn't know is what a good stepfather he was to my son, Dylan. The morning after Derryn died, Dylan wrote what I think is a beautiful tribute to him, and I want to read that to you. My stepfather, Derryn Hinch, died yesterday at the age of 82. That's a handsome innings for anyone, let alone a man who loved a drink and had a liver transplant. One of Derryn's favourite aphorisms, he had many, is, quote, "All we owe the dead is the truth." I hope to extend the same honour to Derryn in what follows. I first met Derryn when I was about 10, after my mother and he started seeing each other. He looked a bit odd to a 10-year-old boy's eyes. Those were the days when Derryn would be decked out in beige slacks, loafers, silk business shirt unbuttoned almost to the navel, gold chains and navy blazer with a red rose pinned to the left lapel. It was all topped off with an unforgiving hirsuteness, complete with hairy chest and meticulously groomed beard. 70s porn star or journalist and broadcaster, you be the judge. I don't recall how he and my mother met or where. I do. But I do recall that Mum's first impression of Derryn was, quote, bumptious. That became a running joke throughout their marriage. While he could be bumptious, especially with a few under his belt, he also possessed a genuine sense of humility and self-reflection. This allowed him to acknowledge his own faults, which he often did to me and his closest family and friends. In one of our final conversations after his 80th, and yes, we were imbibing, he accused himself of being a narcissist. I told him that was a bit harsh. I recall one of his most humble moments following his transplant after he had come close to death from total liver failure. He and I were discussing his drinking and what it had led to. Inspired by the clarity of sobriety, his epiphany to me was simply, I was a fucking idiot. The legend of Derryn the raconteur was at its peak in the 3AW days in the 1980s. I have vivid memories of the ritual Chardonnay-soaked Friday lunches at Melbourne's underground nightclub, then owned by Brian Goldsmith, with Paul Barber, Alan Finney, and Darren James. Those lunches became famous for telling the same bawdy jokes every week. The repetition became a joke in itself. We already knew the punchline, but the guffaws got louder at each telling. Farewell, Derryn. You taught me the importance of honesty, integrity, and standing up for what you believe in. You were intelligent, passionate, cheerful and loving, as well as obstinate, grumpy, impossible and frustrating, with a self-destructive streak which mystified your nearest and dearest as to where it came from. And we loved you for all of it. As you often said, quote, "Life is a dance, not a journey." I'll finish with another favourite Irish aphorisms of Derryn's. Quote, "The longer you live, the sooner you die. You came, you danced, you conquered. Adieu." And that was from Dylan. And from me, Joby, goodbye. I love you, Joby. I've loved you from the very start to the very end. Good night, sweet dreams. Good night, Joby. I love you forever.